So we're here in Harare, and I am meeting with Wilson, who is one of the graduates of the High Impact Facilitation Program in 2016. And it's wonderful to be here, and we're in another meeting altogether. But I'm just really curious to hear from him what has changed and what's the impact of his new way of facilitation. And so let's hear from Wilson. So can you give us an example of how, ordinarily you would have done it and how you're doing it differently? But most of all, how does it impact the outcome of the meeting, your new approach?
I think ordinarily I would have gone into a workshop with my preconceived ideas of how I want to roll it out, and maybe even like perceptions of how the audience would respond, and then maybe even an illusion of what are the conclusions and what are the outcomes. But now it's more like a journey. I get there, I invite people on the journey, we walk together, we formulate an agenda, we agree on the rules, we agree on the conduct, we implement aspects of sensing and emotions to it as a team. And I think the outcomes of it are more embraced by everyone. It's not what I want to achieve, it's what the whole group and team really wants to achieve. So in the first case, I would probably say I was a little not facilitating. I was maybe coaching and walking through a process. But now it's really like you are there to be there, like to facilitate and invite people on a journey, and you walk with them and you all embrace the outcomes of what you get. Whereas the other way around, it will be, okay, this is the group. What constitutes the group? How do I conduct with it? This is what we want. And then one works towards achieving what they come in as their own outcomes that I had in my own mind. Yeah.
Right. And so for Hivos, the multi-actor engagement is really important.
It is.
Is this an initiative where you're engaging with other civil society organizations, or also with government, private sector? What's the multi-actor component for this initiative?
It is important. And for this initiative, it's actually having government, private companies, and regional development banks. Like we've been talking to Africa Development Bank about entrepreneurship in food. We are also talking to governments in the sectors that we're in. We are talking to small SMEs and also the representatives of those small companies in these communities. Yeah.
What is unique about multi-actor collaboration that you don't find when you collaborate with just other NGOs?
I think with multi-actor, you kind of taking like a systems approach where you are working and discussing with actors that bring in like an ecosystem view of what you are dealing with. Whereas in other approaches, you go to a single organization, you collaborate with them, then you talk with another one. Whereas in this case, you put all the actors together. You actually also cover a lot more ground with all the parties there and getting the thinking. And you're not approaching the problem from one angle. You hear government talking about how they would have approached it. Private sector is saying the same. Us as Hivos, we're also saying how we would want to contribute to the whole process. If there's us, community development organizations, NGOs and companies, then everyone is really like holistically inputting into the approach.
Okay. My last question. So would you recommend this program? And if so, what would you say to people who are thinking about attending it?
I would certainly recommend it, and I would say come with an open mind. I come willing to learn, because there will be a lot to learn and a lot to share from your past experiences as well. And one should also be prepared and comfortable enough to say, this is what I knew and how I was doing things in the past. These are the new approaches that I'm going to integrate with what I know now. So there is a lot to learn and share.
Thank you, Wilson. It's good to see you. Thanks so much.
Good to see you too.
All right, take care.